The Fire of Infinity. Medieval Chronicles presents Giordano Bruno, The Fire of Infinity. In a world still bound by the chains of heaven and earth, one man dared to imagine the universe without walls. He was not a scientist in the modern sense. He was a philosopher, a mystic, a poet of the stars. And for his vision, he was burned alive. Yet, through the flames, his ideas ignited the dawn of a new age.
In the late Middle Ages, the cosmos was a closed cathedral. Every star, every sphere had its place in the great chain of being, from God to angels, to man, to the beasts, to the stones. It was a world of hierarchy, purpose, and divine order, but cracks had begun to appear. Scholars like William of Ockham questioned the certainty of metaphysical systems. Humanists rediscovered ancient texts that spoke of individual freedom and reason. And the printing press began to spread forbidden ideas like wildfire. By the time Giordano Bruno was born in 1548, the old medieval world still stood, but its foundations were trembling.
A monk of the New Age. Bruno entered the Dominican order as a teenager, walking through the same cloisters that had shaped thinkers like Thomas Aquinas. But unlike Aquinas, who sought harmony between faith and reason, Bruno felt the tension, a world too narrow for the infinite within him. Inside the monastery, he read more than he was allowed to. He questioned more than he should have. And soon, the walls of dogma became a prison. When the Inquisition's shadow grew close, he fled, not once, but many times, leaving behind the robes of the friar for the wandering cloak of the philosopher. The 16th century was the age of rebirth, Rinascita. In art, man rediscovered beauty. In science, he rediscovered curiosity. In philosophy, he rediscovered himself. From Copernicus, Bruno inherited a new universe, one where the earth was not the center. From Nicholas of Cusa, he learned that God might be infinite, and therefore so must his creation. From Hermes Trismegistus and the Neoplatonists, he absorbed the vision of a living cosmos animated by divine energy. But Bruno did not simply repeat these ideas, he fused them into something dangerous. A universe without borders, ruled not by hierarchy, but by infinite freedom. The infinite universe. In Bruno's imagination, the cosmos was not a machine. It was a living fire. Every star was a sun surrounded by worlds like our own. Every atom of existence was filled with divine light. To him, God was not a distant ruler sitting beyond the stars. God was immanent, within everything, everywhere, always. This was a vision utterly alien to the medieval worldview. Where the church had drawn boundaries, Bruno erased them. Where theology demanded obedience, Bruno offered wonder. And where fear once ruled the heavens, he saw endless possibility. He wrote, "The universe is all infinite, for the divine greatness is not confined to one corner."
The philosopher as heretic. Bruno's words traveled through Europe like sparks carried by the wind. He taught in Geneva, Paris, London, Prague, a restless pilgrim of thought. His charisma fascinated nobles, scholars, and skeptics alike. But his courage bordered on defiance. He ridiculed Aristotle, mocked narrow theology, and called for a new philosophy, one that would unite science, magic, and spirit. In Elizabethan England, He debated at Oxford, only to be met with ridicule. Yet he stood his ground, declaring, "You cling to the bark of Aristotle, but I have sailed beyond the shore." For the church and the universities alike, such words were intolerable. The medieval mind demanded limits. Bruno demanded infinity.
Trial and flame. When he returned to Italy in 1591, Bruno believed he could find patrons or forgiveness. Instead, he found betrayal. Arrested by the Venetian Inquisition, he was later transferred to Rome. For 7 years, he was interrogated. They demanded he recant his belief in the infinite universe, in the soul's eternity, in divine immanence. He refused. On February 17, 1600, in the Campo de' Fiori, Rome, he was led to the stake. Witnesses say he faced the flames with his eyes open. To his judges, he said, "Perhaps you pronounce this sentence against me with greater fear than I receive it." And when the fire rose, 1,000 years of medieval certainty began to fade in its light.
Bruno was not a scientist like Galileo or Newton. He offered no equations, no proof. What he gave was something deeper, the courage to think without limits. In him, the medieval mystic and the modern thinker meet. He still spoke the language of magic, but his heart burned for reason. He still sought God, but not in dogma, in infinity itself. The Middle Ages taught that truth was given. Bruno taught that truth must be discovered. And for that discovery, humanity would pay, but also evolve. Centuries later, when telescopes revealed galaxies beyond count, when space probes crossed the edges of the solar system, the echo of Bruno's vision returned. He was no longer a heretic. He was a prophet of the modern cosmos.
Giordano Bruno's ashes were scattered to the wind, but ideas do not burn. They expand like the universe itself. And perhaps, somewhere among the infinite stars he imagined, the soul of the philosopher still whispers, "The universe is infinite, and so is the mind that dares to know it." If the fire of his courage still burns within you, subscribe to Medieval Chronicles and join us as we uncover the voices that defied the darkness and shaped the light of the modern world.